No, just congratulations to our state, our university, our team. Uh, it's it's good to win a football game against a tough team who's got a great leader and has a tough scheme. You know, that was a battle. They battled back in the second half. Um, I feel really good about the way this football team plays for each other and plays for the state of Hawaii. So it's nice to be 2-0. There's a lot to get cleaned up still, but things could be a lot worse right now. No questions? Sweet. Good?
Check.
Okay.
All right, Coach.
Yes.
You said last week, you
Shooter.
We're still going with Shooter McCracken? All right,
Yeah,
I'll stick
Shooter.
with it.
Nice to see you.
You see you too. So last week against Colorado State, you said in the second half there was a bit of complacency in terms of play calling on offense. What was the difference this time around when Navy kind of made a game out of it? What happened with the play
Well, they
calling?
got a turnover. They got a score out of the half, and then got a turnover. You know that wasn't very good. But I think as the many plays as our defense made in the first half, and as many points as we put on the boards in the first half, you know, we were able to weather that storm a little bit. To get a few stops in the first half was huge, and to execute on some fourth downs for some touchdowns was big, because it could have gone either way. But the team has a lot of belief in the system, in each other, and it just wasn't. They don't get flustered, you know, but you gotta respect Navy. These guys, you know, they fly all the way out here. You know, we couldn't even imagine what their everyday life is outside of football. Then you throw football on top, you know they're going to come back and fight, and we anticipated it. I wish we didn't make the mistakes to let them back in the game, but we did, and we have to live with it, and we had to finish the game off. But there were some plays there that, you know, with I think Joe Ward, you know, had a nice day. You know, John had a big day, probably could have been bigger. But all in all, it's nice to be 2-0, and it's nice to be playing fairly good football that's clean. I mean, one penalty for 5 yards. I don't know when the last time I've been involved with a game that happened. That should tell you how much that the fans, the university means to this football team. You know, this team is very unselfish, and they're doing this for a greater purpose. So I appreciate all the fans and students coming out. That was pretty special for these guys. It feels like what they're doing is worth it for them. So.
And Cole had another great game, became the first quarterback since Brian Winnie's in 2011 to throw for 400 yards in consecutive games. Can you talk about his performance? I mean, no interceptions. I think he has 9 touchdowns on the season. What is it about Cole's game that's allowed him to do this?
I think it's his hard work. It's his desire. It's, you know, that it should come down to those two things. I mean, he's either worried about his hair or he's doing football, you know, all training camp. All before training camp, all summer, you know, he takes some tough classes in a tough major, you know, but there's not a lot of stuff outside of school, football, and his sweet hair that he worries about, you know. And the kid's a competitor. The kid's a confident competitor that nothing flusters him, you know. And sometimes he makes me angry, but that's because I think he could be even better than he was tonight in my mind. And when he sees the film, he'll understand.
Excuse me, a couple drops from John in the first half. You know, you were saying he could have had an even bigger game, but having 3 receivers have 2 touchdowns each, at least 90 yards. What does it say about the explosiveness of this run and shoot offense?
I think it shows the, you know, I know Cole didn't rush very much today, but you got more than those 3 guys that truly in the pit of their heart believe in the system and believe they help each other get open. And I think it has more to do with now, you know, thank our stars above that the Lord decided to create a creature like John Ursua, but this guy's a great person too, as an athlete. Cedric Bird, unbelievable set of skills that he has, but a good person. JoJo Ward, guy, you guys saw him, he can run, and he tracks the ball well and catches well, but this guy's a good person. You can't just be a super athlete in this offense without giving up some of yourself for the greater good of the team. And you take a guy like Sharsh, Kamaka, Torres, Stubbs. All these guys are so great to be around, and they deserve everything that they're getting in the first 2 games, I think.
Coach, 2 games in, has the offense, has it even exceeded your expectations by the explosiveness, the consistency of this offense just 2 games in?
I wish we ran the ball better, to be honest with you. What did we rush for? 86 yards. Our yards per carry wasn't good. I thought guys up front did a nice job pass protecting, but they were pretty physical up front in the run game, and they had a good plan for the box. Didn't allow us to get Cole going at all in the run game. You could always be better. Now we want to sit back and put our feet up. We'll go out and get beat next weekend and probably get beat handily. The worst thing we could do right now is think we've arrived and done something special. That we have 11 more games in front of us. Not that we have to play, that we get to play together. And that's our mindset moving forward. And I couldn't even imagine any of the 120 players down the stairs doing anything to jeopardize that throughout this fall camp or fall season.
You mentioned earlier pretty clean as far as penalties, but also turnovers in the first 2 games. Just the one, I think, tonight.
2.
Oh, there was
one
2.
in
Okay.
one in each game, both
Okay.
fumbles.
Okay. But still, for a high-risk offense,
There's no excuse for fumbles.
Okay.
Remember the quote: "It's better to have died a young boy than to fumble this football." Interceptions, I think, they can happen, but fumbles, you're just giving it away.
you mentioned things to clean up, and you mentioned a few of them. There were quite a few drops in the first half, and
How many?
about 5, maybe
5 drops, so he should have been
6.
36 for 42.
Yeah, and they were pretty much, drops, not like,
Oh yeah, no, I saw. I didn't know how many there were. That's
Yeah.
all.
What do you do to address it? You go back to the basics
Catch
as far as
balls.
the fundamentals.
Catch more balls.
Yeah.
And look, John is a special athlete. He's going to come up here and he's going to tell you he should have used his hands instead of trying to, what happens is we think these shoulder pads have Velcro on them or are made of like a sponge or something. It bounces right off. You got to use your hands, And he's got great hands. I think he just got caught in an awkward spot a couple times, but he would have had 2 more big catches and he knows that. I mean, it's not like we're talking about anything he doesn't already know, and he feels bad about it because he's not. He wants to play for everyone the same way. He wants to make every play he can for this state.
Defensively, you played 2 games against 2 teams with pretty different schemes, and people are going to point at yards given up in points, but
Okay, let him point.
that kind
Let
of
him
comes
point.
with the.
Corey Batoon is a fantastic football coach, and that staff that is around him are incredible men, and they work their butt off to put together a plan that I know. I get it. The glass is always half empty for some people, but I'm not going to trade Corey Batoon for anybody. The guy spent a lot of time on this stuff and got some stops and got us. I mean, he's as happy as anybody. Go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Do you think the fans some of the more casual fans will come around to the idea of that when you play a faster type of offense, the defense is on the field more, and when you score more, the other teams are going to have more opportunities. When you beat BYU in 2001, it was 72-45. Some people, nobody really talks about the 45 in that game, but, do you think people will come around on that?
I'm sure there's people that wish it was 59-0. And most of the people, the first 6 or 7 of those people are downstairs in that locker room taking a shower right now. But the main thing is to get a win. There's going to be times where we need that defense to make a stop. And you know what? Today was one of those times. We're not up 21-0 on Navy, right? We were up 21-0. We're up 28-0 with a block field goal or a block punt. We're not 21-0 on Navy without our defense. That game's, I know it got closer than it might have should be in the second half, but the defense holding them to 0 points in 3 possessions. I mean, I guess you can grumble about whatever you want. I'm not grumbling tonight.
Coach, with Jelani being back this week after not playing last week, how would you assess his performance?
It's hard to say without the film, but I know his passion and just his energy on the field looked like he made some plays and got people lined up, and he likes playing football for this university.